What is up, everybody? How we all doing today? If I look completely crispy and sunburned, it's because I've spent the last 4 days baking in the Kentucky sun. It was so freaking hot, but such a freaking fun time. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Hopefully we've got some new setups over here with some chat stuff, so hopefully I can start seeing chat soon too. And also I'm going to be cutting this up and actually editing this into like a vlog type video as well too. But I want to just come on here and talk to you guys a little bit about Louder Than Life and my thoughts on the actual concert, the festival, not just the bands that played, but actually the festival, because this was something totally freaking different and I loved it, man. It was amazing. It was so well done. Oh, I got all the thoughts in the world. Have all the thoughts. We actually do have chat up here, which is awesome. I was kind of nervous about that one, so let's increase the size of you guys. I mean, come on. You're like kind of tiny here. Where the heck are you? How do I get to you? I don't even know. But anyways, I love y'all to death. Thank y'all for being here. I am very red, Joyce. Heck yes. So, check it out. There were so many bands there, and it was so well done. I've actually had to write notes down, okay? I'm so ADHD, I had to write down my own notes for this because I wanted to cover everything. I wanted to talk to you guys about like exactly what we did at Louder Than Life this year. It was a really cool one. I've been before. I went in 2023, and I grew up going to festivals. I grew up going to like BuzzFest, Ozfest, freaking Sounds of the Underground tour, Warped Tour, any kind of festival that was like an alt music festival. I was definitely trying to go there. So I always went to festivals growing up and was a huge fan of those. So being at a concert, trying to get to the barricade, all these different things are like very much so part of my blood at this point, you know? So in saying that, I wanted to talk about some of the bands first and some of them that stood out to me, kind of like a little bit about my schedule, what all I did during the festival, and then also talk to you guys about like some of the festival things, like the wins that they had, and also maybe like one or two little things that I feel like they can improve on maybe next year, hopefully, fingers crossed. But this was like a legitimate, like, world record setting thing, at least for the US as far as numbers for a festival. It's the largest festival that they've ever had in America, man. Did you know that Otto uploaded a live version of Roll? I had no idea, but I'm freaking down for it. I'll check that one out for sure. And Joy said funds for John's future skin cancer treatment. Sheesh, girl, we gonna need that. I'm telling you, dude, like my throat's all messed up because I've been screaming all weekend, and then also just like got a little bit of that toasty sunburn on us. But all right, here we go. So let's talk about it. What all we got going on? Day one, me and my wife drove up to Kentucky. It's only about like a 2.5 hour drive for us, so it's not really that bad. But we did book a hotel, which is going to come back in this story pretty freaking soon, okay? Because that hotel was a thing, okay? That's something that's going to stamp on my life forever, was that hotel. And you don't normally want to do that. So either way, here we freaking go. Day one. We got there a little bit later than we were supposed to. I was going to be trying to get there earlier around 2 o'clock in the afternoon to go interview Atreyu, but I was not able to get there in time because Jody had some stuff going on with work, so we had to leave a little bit later than we were trying to. Got there right as Atreyu's actually playing, so I got to see Atreyu, which was wild because I grew up listening to that band Atreyu. Grew up with them. Really awesome, like older metal band, and honestly, like their drummer being the vocalist now, he has got such a big stage presence. He's a huge dude, and freaking awesome to see them still going. Saw them, then I saw The Story So Far, and then really didn't get a full day on Thursday, but Lorna Shore closed it. And if anybody listens to Lorna Shore, they are like one of the heaviest freaking bands in the world. I mean, like super ridiculous heavy band. And it was amazing, man. It was awesome hearing somebody like, I don't know, that heavy headlining a festival and having that many people in front of them, and just like, it was really cool to see that kind of music represented in such a huge way. They're such a heavy band. And like, as a metal vocalist who does a lot of screams and tries to do highs and lows and everything like that as well too, definitely not on the same scale or level as him by any means. But man, Will Ramos just absolutely crushed that. It was insane. They were so good. And like live, there's bands out there that I've seen, like you can hear them live and they sound nothing at all like their record. He sounds better, dude. His live, like his highs are so much clearer live than anything. It was so freaking good. Oh my God. Lorna Shore absolutely crushing it. And I feel like they're one of the, like the front runners of extreme metal, and his voice, dude, insanely good. I cannot brag on them enough. And it was so cool, man. Did my heart so good to see them in front of that many people and the entire crowd just being blown away. I heard people that were like, you could tell that they probably never heard of them before, and they were like, oh my God, they were blown away by how, like, I don't know, just insane his range is, dude. I'm sure some of them were probably like terrified, but at the same time, it's just cool to have that many people, I don't know, introduced to them. And kind of almost feeling like that's maybe a slightly mainstream thing that can happen now, you know? Joyce said, I'm glad he caught them. Yes. Likewise, it was freaking amazing. And Pillar said hello from Moscow. How you freaking doing? But that was an insane live show. And honestly, one of the coolest that I've seen in an aggressive, like really extreme death metal style of music. I don't really even know what genre you'd call them, but extreme metal. And it was one of the coolest shows I've seen of that. That was freaking wild. So day one in the books, get back to our hotel, and the freaking fun begins, my friend. And normally, that sounds like something else might be implied, something insinuated happening here. But no, this is literally the worst hotel I've ever stayed at in my life. I've had some experiences where, like, you go to a hotel, and it, like, maybe it's gross or something like that, right? No, dude. It was dated. It was gross. And there were freaking bugs. There were bugs everywhere. It was the worst hotel I've ever been in my life. And there are so many things that I'm going to tell you guys that happened on each night where it was just like, is this real? Did this really happen right now? Yes, it really happened. The whole time we were at that hotel, it was like hell. Jody was like, this is hell. I was like, yes. I think this is officially the worst hotel I've ever stayed at, which was awesome. So night one, there's like a bug chirping. You know how like sometimes you'll get like a bug, like one of those like summer bugs or something like that are like outside of your window, and it's just chirping and it just keeps going. It sounds like a car alarm or something. That was what was happening. But no, my friends, it was not outside of our window, because I opened our window and I checked, okay? Not outside the window. It was inside the freaking room, in the walls, in the freaking walls, dude. And I was like, I'm like an investigative little guy, right? So like I'm going around looking, there's like a gap. The walls here, the carpet starts like right here. So there's like a thick gap of just concrete. And then like you could tell there's like place that goes under the wall. It's just like, there's just an unfinished part of this freaking thing. You're not supposed to see that in a hotel. It was freaking, I don't like, you know, that's not even a big deal. But dude, I went to push on the wall. The wall is like rotted out. It's like dry rotted wall. So I'm like, oh my God. So there's bugs in the wall, right? And I'm like, man, I'll just try to sleep this one off. It's okay. As long as they're in the wall, they're not bothering me. I'm all right. I've got like high standards of thresholds before I'll ever complain about anything. So like night one goes down, and finally I'm just like, I'm just going to go to sleep, okay? So bugs are going. They're freaking serenading us to sleep. And I'm just like, so I finally pass out, dude, right? Cool. Next morning we wake up. I'm like, I'm going to take a shower. So like you have to turn on this light to freaking, like to turn on the light, you have to turn a fan on. There's like one of those fart fans in the ceiling. So if you turn the light on, that automatically comes on. Well, it's like this old one, right? And it's like just this old freaking like, I don't even know, dude. There's obviously people been going in there to smoke and like blow it out the fart fan or something like that, because it's just caked in smoke. So I like, the towel rack's broken. So I just put my freaking towel on the up part of the lid of the toilet, right? I put my towel on top of that, and I'm like, because there's nowhere to hang a towel at. So like best case scenario, not the floor, just the back side of the toilet lid, which hopefully somebody cleaned. And I'm like, all right, so I take a shower. Whenever I get out there, it looks like somebody just pissed. Like they have maybe just been drinking Coke for like weeks, dude. And somebody just peed all over the toilet seat, all over the walls, all over my towel. I was like, what the hell? And then I realized that it's just this smoke juice that is accumulated in this fan. It's just dripping all over my freaking towel. I was like, ah! It was the freaking worst, dude. So that was just night and day one, okay? And I'm like, whatever. I'll get another towel. I'll freaking dry off. And then I'm getting the hell out of this apartment or hotel. And I'm just going to go to this concert, right? So day one, freaking done. We're on day two now. Showered up. We're ready to go. Get there, get early, and start seeing some amazing bands. And it's also a beautiful day. No freaking clouds in the sky. Not too hot. Beautiful day. And getting out there, Ubered out there instead of parking or whatever. So we did that. Fleabag Hotel. Yeah, and then how long did you have to stay there? So we had to stay there for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then left on Sunday. Luckily, Sunday was like departure of the freaking hell hotel. It was so bad, dude. So day 2, got to watch Thornhill Northlane, which I did not know Thornhill was that badass. They are freaking amazing, man. Live, they crushed. Northlane was awesome, and then I got to see Eminence, and if y'all know, like, we checked out some of their stuff on a live reaction. Oh my god, Eminence is even better live, dude. I've been wondering how they're gonna do violin with him singing into a microphone. Like, I was wondering how he was gonna do that, and I was gonna actually check out like a live video, like a live performance video of theirs. I actually got to see him live instead, so it's like, oh, it's so freaking good. I'm definitely going to still do a live reaction to one of their songs or something, just so we can check it out and talk about it together more. But like, live Eminence, and especially God-Fearing Man, one of the freaking best. It was insanely good. I was so impressed with him, man. Oh my god. And then the guitarist pulls out a freaking violin. It's actually a cello bow from his back, and it starts playing the freaking I have bruises all over my arms, man. I was in the pit all day. But anyway, starts playing with a cello bow on his guitar. It was so heavy. It was so freaking cool, man. It was amazing. Eminence blew my mind live. Oh my god, they crushed it. And then after that, Ailstorm played, which I don't know if anybody out there knows who Ailstorm is, but Ailstorm is a very funny, like, I don't even know how you describe them, like pirate metal band, kind of. I think pirate metal is a pretty solid way to describe them, but they were amazingly hilarious. Their last song is called, I don't know, like YouTube will something strike me or something if I cuss a lot on here, but Effed by an Anchor is the name of the song or whatever, and they ended their set with that. Hilarious, dude. He was like, this song is what I want to tell you all, and he's like, F you all, Kentucky, and then he's like, you all suck, and then like plays the last song, which was F by an Anchor. It was the funniest thing ever, dude, and every person in the crowd was like singing along by the last chorus. It was such a party, dude, and he also has a guitar, so that was amazing in itself. Absolutely loved that. And then we went to check out Of Mice and Men, which, man, Of Mice and Men, one of my favorite bands. I've grown up listening to them. I've loved them for a long time. They're a really, really solid band. Of Mice and Men crushed their set like insane. The crowd was just like feeling it. I got the mosh pit in that one too, and that actually started like my moshing for the whole concert. That's the first time I got into a pit. But Of Mice and Men, amazing. They crushed that so freaking much. Louis said, love your reaction, Jones. Time for some more Dan Vasc. Hit me with one. Send me one. I'm actually filming some reactions later on here in a little bit, and I've got a lot of stuff we're about to be putting on our Patreon. I've been kind of like stockpiling stuff for no reason. But yes, send me a Dan Vasc song, and I'll totally do a reaction to it. So Of Mice and Men absolutely crushed it. They crushed the set, dude. Like, they played old and new stuff, and a lot of the people around me were like, man, I really hope they play some old songs. They made everybody in that crowd happy. It was freaking legit. And then they actually made an announcement for Louder Than Life 2026, which is that My Chemical Romance will be headlining that. Also Aftershock, and I can't remember what the other one is, but Danny Weimer actually does another festival, so they'll be headlining all three of those festivals. And man, I gotta say this really quick about that. I love My Chemical Romance. I think they're an amazing band. I grew up listening to them. I'm a big fan of their music for sure. But dude, they're going to have to work on some vocals, because like live, I've been watching a lot of his vocals, and I don't know what's going on with him, but he definitely needs to practice some on his vocals before he takes it, because like, especially like the Black Parade, we need him to be nailing some of those notes, and he can do it. Like, there's no reason that he can't. He just definitely needs to like go back to the drawing board and rework on some of those vocals. I definitely know some vocal teachers, Throga Jim, that can probably get him back on the right course. But Gerald Gerard, I think is his name, definitely needs to get on some of that, because like there's some highs that he's known for. And if you watch any of his most recent live performances, even if like Helena, like all of those, The Ghost of You, like there's so many high notes that he's supposed to be hitting, but he ends up going lower there instead. And I really, really would love to hear him hit those like the highs live next year for that. And especially if he's going to be headlining some of these freaking festivals. Oh, we need it. We freaking need it. But that's a pretty cool one. Also, I don't know why or if this matters. Look at this freaking tan line. Look at that tan line, dude. Oh my God. Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. Um, but speaking of which, actually, Baby Metal even reposted that announcement of My Chem with their next tour. So I'm really curious if Baby Metal is going to be getting on any of that tour. Maybe, possibly, hopefully, fingers crossed. Maybe that's going to be happening. Not sure. But would absolutely love it if that ended up happening. Okay. And so after that, got to see Dayseeker, which was insanely good. Dayseeker live. He's got such a great voice. But there were so many songs that I knew of Dayseeker that I actually didn't know that I knew of theirs. Freaking amazing. Then got to scoot over to see the Story of the Year, which our friend Viking was like, dude, they're playing. And also actually Joyce as well too said that they were playing. So like definitely checked out Story of the Year and they crushed. They have been around for a long time and still having like that kind of energy live was really cool. So got to watch them for a while, grab some food. There's this place called like Redneck Tots that was amazing. They were like delicious tater tots. Oh my God. So went and ate there and watched Story of the Year and then checked out Spirit Box. They crush live. Courtney LaPlante has like such, or LaPlante, I'm not sure. But Courtney, she crushes live, dude. She's got like she's such a small figured person. Like she's a tiny little person. But like, dude, she's got such a huge stage presence. They all do. They're very, very good at like just having this really cool metal presence. I don't know how to say it besides that. You're the best. What's your reactions? Lori, thank you so much. Can't remember if you did Break the Silence with Dan Vesk. And Eric. Oh, I did a song with Dan and Eric before, but I don't know if I did Break the Silence. I'll check and see, but if I didn't, I'll do that one. That'd be very cool. So yeah, Dayseeker, Spirit Box. Then we got to see Breaking Benjamin, which was wild. I've not seen them live in a long time. But Breaking Benjamin was actually amazing live, too. I love the fact that he plays guitar and sings. He's totally rocking the dad bod now, by the way, and embracing the dad bod. But I'm pretty sure that guy's like 7'12" or something like that. Dude's pretty freaking big. So he's a tall dude. Seems like he probably, I don't know, give, what's his name, Tyson Fury a run for his money. He's a big freaking dude. But, man, his voice live sounds so good. And it's really refreshing to hear bands like that still singing live and not really like, I don't know, not having like auto-tune or any of that stuff on their voices. It's really cool to hear that because he broke a lot of the norms of where he was singing at live. Like he didn't just hit the normal notes. He would do different things. He would do different runs. He would pause. He would let the crowd talk. He would do a lot of different things live, showing that he was singing live. And I thought that was really cool, man. So he stuck around because Breaking Benjamin was playing Main Stage 1, and then on Main Stage 2 was Sleep Token. So I actually got to watch them from second stage. And dude, Sleep Token live, oh my freaking God. It was so good. I was so stoked, man. And Jody was there and it was like, we just had a whole moment, man. Sleep Token is so good live. I just can't even deal with it, man. Just ridiculous caliber of a live performance. Their stage setup looks cool. Freaking Vessel live is just like, dude. Oh my freaking God. I know we've talked about presences and stuff, but I am telling you, if you ever get the chance to see Sleep Token live, if they're coming into your area, you have to book the show. They're so good. It goes from like really heavy parts to like these bluesy, jazzy moments where it's just like, they had a sax there as well, too. Vessel played guitar, which I did not know Vessel even played guitar, but he played guitar here. And I'm actually going to try to find a live video of that and actually talk about that and break that down because, oh my God, Vessel playing guitar. What in the heck, dude? Actually, kind of, it almost makes me think even more that Vessel is the person that everybody says he is because in his other side project, he plays guitar and sings. So maybe, and I don't know if that's him or not, but it's just one more little like log in the fire of maybe that's the dude that Vessel is. I don't know, man. I don't know if anybody's actually figured it out for sure, but that's definitely another little piece of gas on the fire for that one. Sleep Token, then Avenged Sevenfold closed it out. And I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of weird to me. This is like a little random one. But Sleep Token, I saw so many shirts, so many people dressed like Vessel, so many people dressed like all the band members, everybody wearing Sleep Token shirts. Everybody was wearing Sleep Token shirts on Friday. So like whenever they say that like Avenged Sevenfold brought that, like, sold it out or whatever, and a lot of people were like, Avenged Sevenfold playing in front of the biggest crowd. I am not gonna lie about this. I'm just being my honest perspective of what happened. Maybe other people have a different perspective, but after Sleep Token played, all of Main Stage 2 left, and people were like leaving the concert. I love Avenged Sevenfold. I grew up listening to them. I'm a really big fan of Avenged Sevenfold, but to give them all the props for selling that show out, whenever Sleep Token, I know for a fact, was a huge deciding factor in that. I don't know, man. It kind of feels a little weird to say that they brought like this thing. So I don't know. I definitely feel like you got to give credit to where credit's due. And Sleep Token, I feel like deserves a lot of that credit. I'm not saying 50%. I'm saying like 52% or something along those lines, because they deserve, like, they definitely had a majority of that crowd there for them. A lot of people were wearing those shirts and stuff. So I'm just throwing that one out there. Lori said, my grandson saw My Kim live in California. He said it was incredible. I would love to check them out, and like I really do want to see them live again, but everything I've seen of Gerard recently, I want to see him as a vocalist, like getting back to that place. And I don't know if maybe he had a couple of off days, and that's the live performances I saw, but like, I don't know. I feel like as a vocalist, you definitely can start, like, you can have moments where you're losing it a little bit and then have moments where you're not, you know? All right, so day 2. Get back to the hotel. Again, our bugs are serenading us through the walls, which was an absolute delight, and I'm so glad that that happened. But around 4 o'clock in the morning, Jody wakes up completely nauseous. I don't know what happened. She got really sick. And then, yeah, so freaking, she's like throwing up and stuff throughout the day. It's like 6 o'clock in the morning, right? I went to sleep at probably 2, woke up at like 4, and then it's like 6 in the morning at this point. There's a light that will not turn off in our room. Like, there's no light switch for it anywhere. It's just a light that will not turn off in the room. And then there's bugs in the walls singing us to sleep. And then there's a freaking, Jody's like throwing up, and in the bathroom floor, a cockroach runs across the floor, right? So finally, I'm like, dude, I'm not a complaint person. I do not complain about stuff ever, because we've gotten to this point, and I'm sure a lot of other people probably would have called and complained about it. But finally, dude, 6:30 in the morning, I'm like, so I press 0 on the phone. I'm like, hey, dude, I do not complain about anything, but this bug is about to make me like punch holes through your walls. So I'm going to need you to get out here and like come check this out. As soon as the guy gets there, the bugs are just like screaming, dude. And he's like, oh God, this is really bad. All he offers us is an apology. He tries to I guess pulls up the carpet and stuff. It was so freaking bad. Man Bun should be out very soon. Dan posted a picture of him getting his hair done. Oh my God. Hopefully not. Oh God. Wait, so he's got a new song called Man Buns? That is hilarious. So eventually the dude comes out. He ends up looking to see about the bugs, to tell him about all these other random things that are happening in her room. And all he essentially says is, I'm sorry. That's all. He doesn't like anything else. But then I was like, dude, can you at least grab us some towels? Because all of our towels are covered in this like smoky freaking, I don't know, pea-colored stuff, liquid that's dripping from your fan here. And he was like, oh yeah, of course. That's all. Doesn't really address the pea fan thing or anything like that. Just like, I don't know, dude. He's like, whatever. So brings us some towels, rolls out of there as quickly as he can, because he's like, what am I going to do about this room? It's like horrible. And they're sold out because it's louder than life. And they're sold out. So Jody's still not feeling great. Marie, how you doing, by the way? Jody's still not feeling great. And she was like, I was just going to stay at the hotel with her. I didn't want her to just be feeling bad by herself. And she was like, no, please go, because there's a lot of bands on Saturday that I really actually wanted to see. So she was like, please go. And I was like, no, I'm good. So I ran to the grocery store, got her some stuff, was just going to chill with her. And then finally she just guilt tripped me until I left. And so got there a little bit later in the day, but I did get to see First to Last, Devil Driver, August Burns Red, Motionless in White, Chimera, Stabbing Westward, which I actually got to meet the guy from Stabbing Westward. They were doing like a thing in, I'm trying to remember what the name of there's like a bar that they had. I can't remember what the name of it was, but he was actually serving drinks at the bar. So I went and met with him, said hello, and yeah. Then got to see I Prevail, which, dude, I Prevail live. they are so freaking good. And they're vocalists now, so they lost one of their vocalists, but they kept their heavier vocalist. I don't know their names yet, but I will figure it out for sure. But their guitarist took over a lot of the clean parts, but their heavier vocalist actually still did some cleans, and his scream is so freaking good live. He's just got a really, dude, they're very, very heavy. And I feel like I'm really curious where they're going with their new album, so I'm probably going to be checking their new album out. But everything that I heard on that stage was so well done, man. Very well produced, very full tones and stuff, and the vocalist itself freaking crushed that. Then I went and I was going to go grab some food. While I'm grabbing food, all the food tents are kind of over here towards their other stages. And I got to see Cypress Hill, which was freaking insane. I haven't heard them in forever since like Rock Superstar came out. And I freaking love that song, but it was really cool to see them actually playing. I haven't seen Cypress Hill like live ever, and I haven't heard them for so freaking long. So actually hearing Cypress Hill was really cool. And then I got to stick around for a little bit of Trivium. They're one of my favorite bands. I probably would not be playing guitar and singing if not for Trivium. So I got to catch some of their show. They were freaking amazing. But then I ran over to main stage and saw Bad Omens because, my God, I'm a huge fan of Bad Omens. And live, they freaking destroyed it, man. Oh, my God. I was so, like, I always go into a concert, like, kind of, guarded a little bit because I'm like, if they suck live and I'm a really, really big fan of theirs, it's going to crush me, you know? And no, dude, even better live. They were even better live. I was so impressed with how good his voice is, man. Noah is his name. I didn't know they were still together. That's cool, though. Oh, wait, are you talking about Cypress Hill? But Noah, the vocalist of Bad Omens, live was doing some really, really cool stuff, man. And they actually, so they played Spectre, which I filmed some of Spectre, and I started getting some good footage around this time. I decided around that time that I was going to start doing more short form content of the concerts that I cover. So anytime I go to a concert now, expect to see at least a song or two of YouTube shorts, TikTok shorts, and stuff like that. I'll be doing that a lot more often. I don't know why I haven't been doing that, and it's been doing really well on our YouTube channel and on everything else. And then on day 3, I really started getting this kind of like, I have a new goal and a really like strong freaking, I don't know, man. I've got like, I don't know how to describe this, but I really want to I want to be able to cover this event next year, like actually in a professional setting and not just like, I'm going to go out there and just, I don't know. I want to be able to cover this event from our YouTube channel next year instead of just like, I don't know, buying my own ticket, going general admission and all that stuff. I want to cover it for our YouTube channel. And saying that, it's like a very big endeavor to get taken under. Anytime you ever ask to cover an event, they always say, who are you working for? Who do you write for? Who do you work for? Whatever. And if you write back and you say YouTube, a lot of people are like, oh, you have a YouTube channel, and they don't really take you seriously, which is kind of a problem now, especially whenever you've got people that are like very, very big content creators that are like, that's what they're doing for a living. I mean, I don't necessarily, like if you take, for instance, Rockfeed, they've got over 1 million people on their channel right now, and that's a lot of what they do. And they don't necessarily have, I mean, maybe there's a website. I guess they have a website, rockfeed.com or something like that, but his YouTube channel is like the thing, you know what I mean? So it's kind of a wild thing right now that there's a big undertaking. So by next year, I hope to hopefully make some ground on that because we've been doing a lot of work. We've been like going to a lot of concerts, doing a lot of different things like that. And hopefully by this time next year, I can at least get those contacts and maybe break some ground for that for other people that are doing concert reactions and like covering concerts that are just on YouTube. So, and then I left a little bit into Deftones set. Deftones was really good. I'm definitely a fan of theirs, but Jody was not feeling good, and I wanted to get her some food, so I had to make my way back. And that kind of goes into a problem that I did see with Louder Than Life. Their freaking taxi service that they had was just price gouging. And what's really not good about that is, if you have if you have Uber or if you have Lyft, all of that doesn't matter anymore because Uber and Lyft drivers were working for this other company that's out there called like Z-Ride or something, or Z-Share or something like that. They all had their Uber signs on, but they were just waiting in this parking lot. And Uber would be like, we're charging like $13 right now for a premium ride because you got out of there early or something, right? You beat the crowd. So like you get an Uber for cheaper or whatever before they start jacking up the prices. But every Uber was canceling because they were waiting in this parking lot to charge you $50 to $60 to $70 to $80 for a ride that was like 2 miles. So that's something I feel like somebody needs to work on out there, because I know people were making a lot of good money there. I personally paid at least $150 to 3 rides to get back to my hotel that was like 2 miles away. I think it was like 3. It was like 3 point something miles away. I almost thought about running. I could have totally done it. Hi, Jonas Slater. Just came to say hello. I enjoy watching your videos. Good luck from Japan. Oh, thank you so much for being here. I hope you're having a blessed one, though. Akiko, how are you doing? But yeah, so I don't know. Anyways, that's something I feel like maybe the promoters or somebody can do a little bit better with the ride sharing stuff situation, because everybody was canceling because they had this deal worked out where like if I paid $60 to this Uber driver, but they're doing it through Z-Ride, they would give $10 to Z-Ride and take $50 and then drive you out there for like 13 minutes and then drive you back. So they were price gouging it really badly. And I found out through one of the drivers that that's what's happening. He was an Uber driver. I paid for, like, by the way, it wouldn't bother me if I didn't do this. I paid for Uber Premium and I waited for like an hour. People kept canceling. And I'm like, well, this just sucks, dude. So like, I don't know, man. It really bothered me that that's what was going on. But then every time that they would cancel, it would just be 20 more minutes. And I'm just sitting there. So finally I was like, dude, I'm going to cancel this and I'm going to see about like getting a Lyft. So whenever I canceled that, Lyft now is like $20 more. And then Uber's now this much more money. And then I finally went over there to talk to them, and they're all Uber and Lyft drivers that are sitting there trying to taxi you, but they're charging like an astronomical amount of money. So that kind of bothered me a little bit, not going to lie. But anyways, maybe that's something that they can figure out. That's actually my only problem that I had with the festival, the entire festival. That's my only issue that I had. And that, for a 4-day festival, is pretty freaking awesome, because day 4, we're going to talk about something that they did that impressed the hell out of me, man. Hold on one second. Apparently there's a lot of comments that are not coming through here, and I can't actually see anything. I don't even know where these comments are coming from. But not cool. I totally agree. Hi, John. Just a quick hello from France. Heck, yes. Hopefully a bit more of you with Lara. Yes, I most definitely will be checking out another Lara reaction. Should be up very soon as well. But yeah, so that one was kind of lame. I'm not really happy about the whole Uber ride sharing thing. But day 4 comes in with rain, right? Rain's happening, but on the app, they're updating everybody, and they're like, hey, we're not opening the doors yet, but we do have some like shelters for everybody to go to. So calmly go to the shelters. And if you had the Louder Than Life app, that's what everybody was getting sent. They were sending out notifications throughout the day telling people where to go, and they had it clearly marked. It was so freaking well done. Zach Reacts, what up, dude? How you doing? So they had it really well laid out, and it was like very organized for people to get out of the rain and to get out of the potential storm or thunder strikes and all that stuff. So like very well organized on that part. Also the part of scheduling, right? So like the bands are obviously not able to play, but you booked an opening band, and you know, I don't know, some of these bands coming from all over the world or all over the country at the very least, and if you book them on the show, they're getting a guarantee pay and all that stuff. They need to be able to play. So luckily, whenever I got there a little bit later in the day, it was like around 1 o'clock, bands were starting to play, but they pushed it back from 11 to 1. So there's so much that they had to actually shuffle around. Bands that had guaranteed times that they were supposed to be here, but they shuffled things, and they freaking crushed that. Do you realize how hard it is to schedule, I think, 6 stages, that many bands throughout the entire day, and they now had to push it back 3 hours? They worked so well on doing this, man. I was so proud of them the way they did it. So there's a schedule on the actual app. They changed the schedule directly after they figured it all out, pushed it back to like 1:20 or something like that instead of 11:30. So really well on the organizer's side of it. Well, while I'm like at one of these bars, it's like the Jack Daniel's Big Bourbon Lounge or something like that, or Big Bourbon Stage. I'm waiting, and there is a band called Enemy that's about to be playing. I thought that I was going to be seeing Picturesque, but there was a band called Enemy that was going to be playing. And I walked up and asked some people, I was like, hey, is this where Picturesque is playing? And they were like, no, actually, this is Enemy. And I was like, oh, cool. So we just talked for a while. And I find out that it's actually the record label, and they're called FIXT. So Fixed is the name of the record label. Definitely check them out and check out the bands on their label, because all of the record label was there. They had their marketing person, they had their president, their vice president. They were all there. And you can tell, like, the band Enemy that they had brought out just kept coming out to them, talking to them. Like, definitely you can tell that this record label is taking care of their artists and working with their artists and trying to, like, build them up, because they got, I think they said 4 or 5 of their bands on this, which is a huge freaking thing. On Louder Than Life, they got them on there. Hello from France. Oh, freaking heck yes. Thank you. Peter said, quick hi and many thanks for everything. For real. Thank you so much. I genuinely appreciate that, my friend. But yeah, so I got to talk to them. Fixed is the name of their label, and I think they're like kind of an independent record label, but they do work with a lot of bands, and they got 5 of their bands on Louder Than Life, which is a really big deal. So it was really cool to see them. I got to see Enemy, and then we went and watched Crown the Empire, which Crown the Empire was freaking wild because they had a lady pit. This lady had this huge sign up that said lady pit, and it had arrows pointing down. I've never seen this in my life at a concert, and it was one of the coolest things ever. And Jody was hanging out with one of her girlfriends there as well too, and I was like, you've got to get in this lady pit. I've never seen one of these in my life. And there were, every once in a while, if you would see a guy try to get into the lady pit, all the dudes were like on the wall. So they, like, just imagine people like moshing here, or just, it was like a circle pit essentially. So like people running in a circle and people around it in the wall. And if a guy would jump in, dudes would just grab the guy out, like aggressively grab the guy out and be like, no. And so like finally people, like guys just stopped trying to get in there. Like these stupid dudes that were trying to get into a thing that said lady pit. Like, what are you even doing in the first place? But like guys were aggressively like grabbing them out and screaming at them. So like, ladies had to find a place to like get into a mosh pit by themselves and like not have to worry about some dude with a mouthpiece in there trying to like prove something and knocking the hell out of them. You know what I mean? So like it was awesome. And Jody got in the lady pit. Jody's friend got in the lady pit. I was like, I'm so freaking proud of her. First time getting into a mosh pit was yesterday for Jody, and freaking awesome. I was proud of her. So giving it up for her on that one. Proud moment. But Lady Pit and Crown the Empire. Then we got to watch The Plot in You. And then after that, I got a notification that Jose Mangan from, he's like the metal ambassador. He was doing a meet and greet. So I went and met with him. And while I was waiting on that, I saw Sebastian Bach playing live. And I got to throw this out there. Again, I do not try to talk a lot of crap about people, but he, you can tell, is probably a very full of himself person. I'm sure he has probably reasons to be like that. I don't know. But the thing that was like funny to me, whenever I saw it, I was like, I cannot believe he just did that. It was so douchey. It was like the most douchey thing I've seen a vocalist do, I think, live. But he was like, so there's this, at the last note of the song, he like holds this note out and does some vibrato with it. So he's like holding the note out, hitting the vibrato. It's like a longer holding out note, but I mean, it's nothing like insane, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. We're going to give him like an 8 out of 10 on that one. So he does this note, holds it out with some vibrato, and then he's like looking at the crowd, and then he stops. And then he's like, is that all? And he's like, come on. And he's like getting everybody to cheer for him. And he was like, after they cheered, he like looked like he was not happy with how much they cheered, and he was like, is that all I get for that? Oh my God. And he's like, come on. And like, I don't know, man, it just doesn't feel like good, like a frontman energy to be like it just felt very cringe, I guess is what I'm getting at with that one. It just felt very cringe with that. But anyway, Sebastian Bach, you got to see them live. And yeah, and then after that, met up with Jose, got to talk with him, gave him one of my cards too, and hopefully I hear from him, but I'm not sure if I ever will or not. But it was cool just to be able to meet him and say thank you for like introducing a lot of people to metal and doing everything he's done for like the music industry and the scene. It was just really cool to be able to thank him. And man, that guy's a trooper, by the way. Anytime I've ever gone to a convention and done like speaking at a convention or something like that, and there's like a line of people there to talk to you afterwards, my face kind of hurts from smiling so much for pictures. Like it just happens. And he had way longer of line than I've ever had. And he's just over there smiling for pictures. And so whenever I got up there, I was like, let's do something different, dude. So we did the like thing where it looks like he's choking me and like lifting me in the air. And he was all about it. So it was really cool. He was a very cool dude to meet live. So that then went to see Picturesque, which if y'all have not ever heard of Picturesque before, they've got a lot of really good songs. His vocals are like in a higher range for sure. But Picturesque, there's another one of those bands where I was like, I really like him live, or I like his music, the vocalist in particular, but I really didn't have high expectations for them live because like with high notes like that, a lot of people do not sing them. And so the first song I actually heard of him, heard them play live, he didn't do a lot of these high notes. So I was like, I don't know if he's going to be like this or not and actually not do this. So I was really curious / concerned, and like I was like, man, once it gets to this one song, I know they're gonna play this one song, and if he doesn't sing these notes, I'm just gonna like this is gonna suck because I'm like not gonna like them as much as a band if the vocalist isn't actually doing it. Dude, when I say he nailed every damn note, he did so well. And then I find out they're from Kentucky, which was really cool because that's my neighbor state. So like they're from Kentucky. The vocalist legitimately crushed that, and I mean the best performance vocally I think that I had seen in a band like that in my life. He did so good live, dude. His voice is so on, and it's not like he's auto-tuning. He's like raw vocals, dude, because there's so many times where he lets other people sing it or something like that. In the songs before that, there's parts where there's like a thing that vocalists can do and guitarists can do in different parts, different instruments do this live. If you're not comfortable with hitting a high note or something like that, you'll do this and make it look like you're just belting that note out, but you're really not. You're actually just turning the volume knob down on your vocals because you're not wanting to hit this really high note. A lot of vocalists will do that, okay? So just little thing. He did that a couple of times in the songs before, so I was really nervous that he was going to do the same thing with some of those high notes. And yes, sometimes vocalists do use distance from their microphone to give you volume control for sure, but also people use that as a, like, look, I'm screaming, but really they're not, and they're not confident in hitting that high note. So I was worried that that's what was going to happen. Definitely was not what happened there. Got ahead. Time to pick up these. Have a blessed one, Lori. Thank you very much for hanging out with us today. So anyways, he absolutely crushed. And then the last song, the entire crowd singing along, is like one of the loudest crowds that I've heard at that show too. And he like stood out and walked on top of the crowd. They just crowd surfed his feet and he just walked out there. It was so cool, man. He crushed it. Very good live front vocalist. I was very proud of them. They crushed. Then went and saw We Came as Romans, Slaughter to Prevail, which had one of the biggest wall of deaths I personally have ever seen or been a part of. It was nuts. It was from the stage all the way back to the grass, which was a really long distance. I got a video of that. So Slaughter to Prevail was really good. And also I thought one cool thing about them, they have like, so you might listen to their music and think like this is just a really hateful band or something like that with like zero message or anything like that. But Alex Terrible, which again, you might hear his name and be like, dude, this guy's probably not a really uplifting, positive person, had one of the coolest speeches there. He was like, dude, there's so much wrong in this world right now. And he was like, if you want any change at all, I think that the change needs to start from yourself. So he gave like this really great speech about that, pretty much talking about how you need to change yourself, how you need to fix yourself before you can fix the world, and then go out and fix all the problems that are happening in the world right now. So it was very uplifting, really positive, cool speech, and then crushed Demolitioner. I was like, oh my God. So absolutely destroyed the stage. I freaking love Slaughter to Prevail. Directly after them was Wage War. I'm a big fan of theirs as well too, and they crushed it. And then we just chilled out, got some food, listened to Knock Loose, which I'm not a massive fan of that band, if we're being honest. But they were really good. They crushed live. And then after that, Kentucky Girl here. We actually went to land Louder Than Life a few times, but to be honest, this lineup wasn't exactly for us. We skipped it. How funny that you said Sebastian about Sebastian. Dude, it's so weird. I don't know. I don't know. And I normally just don't say anything about things like that, but I feel like I'm just not going to, I don't know, bite my tongue about random stuff like that anymore. But But then got to see 3 Days Grace, which was wild. Every single song they play, I knew. I grew up listening to them before they got their newer vocalist, and then now they've got both vocalists, and it was really well done. Like, they did really cool harmonies singing together. And yeah, and honestly, too, their old frontman slash now current frontman again, you could tell that he's just naturally a great frontman. Like, he had really natural engagement with the crowd. He had natural like interactions, and he just has like a natural like good stage presence. The guy that was the newer vocalist slash still vocalist has kind of the, I'd say, opposite of that. Not like hating on him, but he definitely did. It felt very forced. Like, he was not as comfortable as their original vocalist on stage. And he would do stuff like, he would be like, 3 Days Grace, 3 Days Grace. And then you get people to say 3 Days Grace. It just felt very forced. Like, as a frontman, it just felt kind of forced, which was kind of, I don't know, man. I mean, it's one thing to get like a band, like the crowd to do something, but he just kept doing that, and that was like his go-to thing. He just, it looked forced. Whereas like in comparison, if you watch the two differently, you see like the difference in the stage performance and stage presence and how they interact with the crowd. So it was like, it's kind of cool to see that. But as far as like vocally performing and all that stuff, their vocal performances together were perfect, man. Because like whenever one vocalist would be doing like aggressive singing, the other would maybe do some highs to kind of like harmonize, or do some screaming to kind of fill it out a little bit. They played really well together, like singing. It was really well done. And if there was ever a time where like one vocalist only was going to be singing that part, like if it was like a newer song with a newer vocalist, the older vocalist would be playing guitar and do backing vocals. So they kind of bounced in and off like that. I thought that was really awesome. I don't know, I've never seen that before done, but I thought that was really cool. So 3 Days Grace played, and then we started staying over at main stage 1, which was where Bring Me the Horizon was going to be playing. So we got really, really, really close. I mean, like probably 10 people back from the barricade for Evanescence. We got to check them out. Amy Lee, amazing front person of a band, and has probably one of the most powerful female vocals I've ever heard, and she's been crushing it for a long freaking time, man. But absolutely destroyed that set. Absolutely beautiful voice, and just, she's such a good front person. I love that. And she also did some of their newer collaborations, so I thought that was cool. And then after Evanescence was Suicide Boys. They were playing on main stage 2. I've never heard any of their music. I'm not really into that type of music at all. It was rap. It definitely had a crowd there. It wasn't my style of music at all, but there were some songs where I was like, all right, this is pretty awesome. So definitely worth checking out if you're into rap. But if you're not really into rap, it might not be your scene at all. I'm just really optimistic to a lot of music, and they were really well, like really good. And then the last one was Bring Me the Horizon, and oh my God, we got I was 2 people from the barricade. It was so good, but it was so chaotic, and it was like home for me. It was like mosh pits were breaking out, crowd surfers, I was throwing people, and it was crazy. And also too, one of the first times ever that I've had to protect somebody in a situation like that. Like, I didn't need to. Jody is a pretty scrappy person, can definitely take care of herself, but it's the first time ever that I've been in a concert where we were up front, and she was hanging with me in a weird way. You know what I mean? Like, she could hang with me up there, and I was like, well, this is cool. But at the same time, anytime people were crowd surfing, I'm like, she comes up to here on me. So I'm throwing people over her, getting nailed in the head by shoes and headbutted and stuff like that. So it was a lot. It was a lot to make sure that she was okay, but it was cool. She was up there, and every time I was like, are you all right? She was like, yeah, I'm great. And so we were just having fun. And every single song of Bring Me the Horizon, I know I'm a huge fan of theirs, and Ollie crushed that live. And their live, their setup, their stage setup is just one of the most unique styles out there. Very cool, very interactive. And actually, they pulled a fan up and let them sing Antivis with them. Freaking wild. Insane concert, man. Insane concert. But in saying that, it was amazing. Louder Than Life 2025 is, in my opinion, one of the best festivals, best ran festivals that I've ever been to. I've been to a lot of Ozfest, been to a lot of Sounds of the Underground tour, Warped Tour, all these different things. And there's always been some stuff where I could say this probably was really not good in some way. There were some things that were not handled correctly. I've never been to a festival that's this long, that was this professionally ran and just made you feel like, first, you're safe at a festival. Second, like it definitely was like well stocked. Everything was like, if you needed a drink, they got drinks. They had like enough staff, enough security for crowd servers, like, and also everybody in the back end. You could tell that we're working on the app, making sure everything was running well. The bands were really well taken care of. The sound was really good for every band out there. And like, I just can't say enough about that. They really did take care of everybody, I feel like, from the bands to the fans. And I think that this just shows what you can accomplish with a festival. And yeah, I think there's a reason that this sold the most in any festival in the U.S. And this is the reason that they're selling out. So fingers crossed, 2026. I cannot wait to find out what the lineup for that is. And again, my goal for 2026 is to either 1, play it with my band City of Sound, or 2, cover it for my YouTube channel, or 3, freaking both. I don't care. I'll do them both. So yeah, that's my game plans for 2026. I'm going for sure. If I'm going to have to get a general admission wristband, then I'll do that. But I'm telling you, I'm going to work my butt off on here and with the band and try to get us to play it, or try to get to cover it, because I feel like, I don't know, man. This is just going to be a random one for a lot of people out there. But if I can get to cover this for my YouTube channel, I hope that it allows people in the future, for those that follow, to be able to have a source of being able to do that as well too. I know a lot of great YouTube channels that are covering concerts and doing a lot of stuff like this as well, and they deserve the time of day for that. You know what I mean? They're great content creators. They're getting the word out there for a lot of bands, and they're doing a lot of good work for the music industry, and I really want to see them getting a lot of respect. So if there's ways that I can get like that avenue open for bands, I'm here for it. And that's really what I want to do, man. That's all I was thinking about from like freaking day 3 on, man. Day 3, just being by myself and covering that event, I was just like, I want so freaking bad to be able to do this for like the channel. And I know there's probably channels out there that are doing something, but I don't know. So anyways, fire has been lit profusely underneath me now, and I am extremely dedicated to making this channel explode in the next little bit of time. And I don't know, I'm going to be doing a lot. I'm going to be doing so much work, man. Work ethic is going to be even more than it has been, which I know we've got consistent releases on YouTube, but man, we're going for it, dude. So thank you guys very much for checking out this extremely lengthy recap. I will edit this one down and have it actually chopped up and put some videos and stuff talking about the things that we talked about, and cutting out a lot of random stuff that I talked about as well too. But yeah, thank you guys for being here with me on this one, and I cannot wait to see what the future holds for not only my channel, for my band City of Sound, for freaking Louder Than Life, for the bands that we watched on Louder Than Life, and for the other YouTube reaction channels that are going out there and going to concerts that they're reacting to. Because I feel like, dude, it's one thing for us to sit here, talk about bands, and listen to their music and stuff, but I think it's another thing for us to actually go out, support the bands, show ourselves there at the crowd, and like actually engage with people that are going to the concerts too. Because there's so many people that I've met live in person that are like, I've just watched your YouTube channels. It's just like, I don't know. I think it's a really cool thing that we get to do, kind of live on both worlds, you know, internet, in real life, all that stuff. But thank you all very much. I hope y'all have a blessed one. If you need anything at all, message me, homies. And if you are watching this and you're part of Louder Than Life, email me, johnreeveslive@gmail.com. Okay, please, for the love of everything, I want to work with you guys next year. Let's make this happen. If y'all need anything, I'm there.